So Joe Mazzulla, post-game, is going on and on about how the Celtics have to stick together. Yeah, we'll win games as long as we stick together. Is that just like a crutch? He said that multiple times. That's just one answer, but he said it multiple times last night after they lost to the Raptors. Well,
that's what you're thinking.
Why do you keep referencing sticking together if the team is together and if they're all pulling in the same direction and they're all, to use whatever cliche, they're all on the same side? If they're together and there's no concerns about it, why do you got to reference over and over and over again the team sticking together and we'll win as long as we stick together? Why do you got to reference that if you're not worried about the team sticking together?
No, I agree with that. He also pointed out something that jumped out to me, which was like, we can't think this is going to be easy because it's not. That kind of thing. Like, I believe they do think it's going to be easy, especially when you play something like the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
Ideally, it should be easy. It's a horrible team. You should go in there, no matter how many games in a row you've played or whatever else, especially when you have your whole team healthy, and beat them. But, yeah, if his talking points are you can't think it's going to be easy, maybe there's some of that. Maybe these guys have just from him being around it and watching him, he gets that sense. And then sticking together. Like, if anybody starts to kind of lose track of playing as a team, I would say specifically playing defense as a team, but then, I think offense, you can make that same point. So, yeah, maybe there is something. He feels like it's kind of slipping away.
I mean, you highlight a good, interesting comment as well. And you guys can jump in on this, 617-779-7937. We're starting Celtics here on Jones and Keefe. We're going to get to the Bruins on a Bruins Thursday. Cam Neely with some interesting comments. Patriots as well. Bill Belichick's future going to be an increasing topic. I'll reset that coming up based on some news that came out literally in the first segment. Bill still hasn't signed his contract at UNC.
From the clouds.
We'll get to the divisional round. We'll get to the lack of news on the Patriots coordinator search. What does that tell us? Is it wide open, or do we already know the answer? And it's going to be Josh McDaniels. We'll get to all that coming up. But, Keith, when you say they think it's easy, or Mazzulla says we can't think it's easy, it kind of was to start the year, right? I mean, they started.
They were rolling
4-0, 7-1, 16-3, 19-4. They were bombing threes, and so it kind of was easy. And you start to think,
and they weren't even healthy.
Roll the basketball, right? We didn't even have Porzingis yet.
Yeah.
Roll the basketballs out there; it's going to be easy. I mean, that is human nature. And now they're dealing with something different. And how are they handling it?
Through 40 games last year, I just looked this up. It's funny, their 40th game also came against the Toronto Raptors. It was a win, and they improved to 31-9. So 3 games worse because they fell, I think, at 28-12 yesterday. So it's not a huge dramatic swing. It is worse. Like, you're on pace for fewer wins than you were a year ago. And I certainly didn't have them for fewer wins. I think most people assumed they were going to have more wins this year.
I did.
Their over-under, though, I remember it was lower than I thought. Maybe this is Vegas kind of saying, hey, sometimes these teams have a hard time repeating or whatever. I believe the over-under was 58.5. And they're currently on pace for 57. So, whatever. They go on a little bit of a winning streak. They can still get it. But right now they're trending for just under their win total, which felt a little low. I thought this was like an automatic 60-win team, but they're not right now.
And we get in the Twitch chat, twitch.tv/BostonWEI. Guys are just bored. It's January. They're bored. They were used to high-stakes games last year in the playoffs, and they're bored.
I can subscribe to that for a few. Yeah. Like a couple here and there. Like I said, if they'd won 7 in a row and then lost to the same bad Raptors team, I would have been like, all right, whatever. Not ideal, but it's a loss. You move on. But they've alternated wins and losses now for 2 weeks.
Yeah. And when it comes to the team, okay, fine. Maybe they are just bored. Is that a good quality? Like, just stop with that. Yeah. It's a good quality that your team got bored?
Yeah.
Like I said before the year, they should go for 66 wins. They should go for a franchise record, and 66 meaning what Garnett did, Garnett and Pierce, their first year together in 08. More wins than they did last year. They should give themselves an artificial goal like that to stay locked in. And I don't know, let's say they are bored. That's not the best quality. That is human nature, but that's not the best quality, and it proves or underscores to me that something is going on. Can they pull out of it? Maybe. Can they flip the switch? We'll see. But in the meantime, something is off, and boredom, to me, would be problematic. You got to find a way to stay locked in.
Yeah, not every team can do that, kind of, be bored through the regular season and then all of a sudden rip it in the playoffs. And I still think this is going to be the team that breaks the streak of not winning back-to-back titles in the NBA. But I'm sure the same conversations were going on the year after the title in Denver and Milwaukee, being like, well, yeah, they're not really kicking ass right now. Like Jokic and Giannis were great, but like the teams weren't great. And then you're like, well, they'll just turn it on in the playoffs. Those teams did not turn
I bet
on
that's
in the playoffs.
exactly what I said. Yeah. I bet if you could go back and find any conversation we had about Denver, I bet I said exactly that about Denver a year ago. Yeah,
I thought
they'll figure it out.
Denver in the finals.
Yeah, and they didn't. So let's see with this team. I also still think they're going to win. I still think they're the most talented team. Talent wins out. But you can't keep playing like this for 2 or 3 more months. They need to nip this in the bud. You need to straighten things out. Because if you keep playing 500 basketball, if you keep playing poor defensively, if you keep having bad shot selection, if guys are still out for themselves, Tatum's MVP, Pritchard's sixth man, Porzingis proving the team needs him, Horford isn't happy coming off the bench, Derek White wants an all-star push, like whatever it is, if something like that is going on, and the team isn't together, to Joe Mazzulla's point, well, that's never going to work. You got to figure it out and figure it out now.
A couple of good text line comments here, which again is just the regular phone number. Joe Mazzulla will be posting pics to IG of happy players on each other's backs coming up next.
I mean,
that could be the answer.
Yeah,
some pictures from months ago when they were happy together.
Tatum and Jaylen Brown have to send one of those out about how good of friends they are. Yeah, that's true.
And then obviously, do they need a pizza party? The answer is yes. You can't go up and down like this.
You're putting the pizza party label on them.
They need a pizza party. They need to get together. The Bruins need a pizza party more.
I can't remember. Did you say the pizza party
helps?
Did you say that before or after your scoop?
Oh, I forget. Good question.
I think you might have said the pizza party
about
before
the Bruins.
I think you said it before your Bruins scoop.
Maybe. Yeah, they needed it then, and then it was only proven that they needed it. And then now the Celtics are trending towards in need of a pizza party. That's sort of the scale. How badly do you need a pizza party? Really badly or not? Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, maybe we need like a social media graphic for this where it's like, slap a pizza party label on them. This team needs a pizza party.
2-liter soda, solo cups, whatever else you want.
Yes, like a red stamp pizza party.
Yeah. Boom, this team in need of.
Keefe means business when he slaps out the pizza party label. Maybe we need to
Sounds
do that.
like a tier.
Yeah, 617. That's true. That is a tier.
We can tear him up next week.
Tear up the pizza party.
Who needs a pizza party the most?
Let's go to Ray in Cumberland on the Celtics. Go ahead, Ray.
Hey, what's up, guys? Big fan of the show.
Thank
Jones,
you.
I just wanted to run this up by you guys and see what you guys think of it. The plus-minus for the season, we got Tatum at plus 289, Pritch at plus 237, Brown at plus 229, and then Porzingis is plus 3. I was just curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I don't think they've been good since Porzingis has come back. So how much of that is figuring out how to re-identify everyone's role? How much of that is about Porzingis individually? I don't know. I've started to like his shot selection a little more. You know, when he first came back, I'm like, does every three he has to take
let it fly from deep
be from 5 feet?
Like Caitlin Clark.
At the top of the key, 5 feet beyond the arc. He has to do that? I don't know. I mean, does anything jump out about his plus? Do you think it's individually his play or just they're figuring out how to play with him?
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like it's their first season with him when it's not. So I don't get that. They haven't added anybody new to the mix. If anything, they'd be better this year, and they'd be more comfortable this year. Because I thought Porzingis fit in really well last year, better than I even would have imagined. Remember he had that good two-man game with Jaylen Brown early on, then they started calling themselves, Cookies and Cream or whatever?
Yes.
It's great. Like, those guys were good together, and obviously he is a difference maker defensively too, something they don't have when he's not in there. But it feels just at times more disjointed when they have everybody. And we're at the halfway point, essentially, of the season. So they could still figure this out. It's surprising to me that they even have to figure it out. I thought it was kind of set.
Yeah.
The question was complacency or injuries. And I don't know if you can even say this is complacency because they've had multiple kind of hiccups. They've had multiple times where Mazzulla's sort of had to call them out a little bit. Again, he doesn't call anybody out specifically like Bruce Cassidy might do. Like, Jake DeBrusk's not playing well. Right. Or like this player X needs to get on the puck. Like, he's not doing that, but he is talking about the team's overall effort. He's talking about the team taking it for granted, talking about the team needing to stick together. So you'd think their eyes would be open on this and you wouldn't have a performance like last night, but you did.
So, again, is it nothing to see here, much ado about nothing? We're making a mountain out of a molehill when it comes to the Celtics, or do you think there's an issue going on? And that's on the court, that's off the court, whatever. Are you willing to acknowledge they're not playing well and there's something they got to sort out? 617-779-7937. It sounds like Joe Mazzulla, the team needs to stick together, quote unquote, is willing to go there. We did get a text, 617-779-7937. Jones, I don't know what we could wager, But I think you're so wrong about Bill. I said earlier, no one's going to call Bill. Bill desperately wants to come back to the NFL and
Do you
be in
think
the
he
club.
coaches in the NFL or at North Carolina next year?
North Carolina.
Yeah.
He says, I will bet whatever you want
Ooh.
that Bill will be a
Wow.
head coach in the NFL, maybe not this season, but no doubt by 2026.
Hold on.
So
we have to
he-
wait
What,
2
by then?
We have
Yeah.
to wait 2 years to cash in on that bet, and you should bet a pizza party.
Good point.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say. It's adam.jones@odyssey.com. What's yours again, Keith?
Keefe at weei.com.
Wow, that's such a
It's
good
way
email.
better
That's so
email.
much. That's so much better. Adam.Jones Odyssey. Is there a shorthanded one where do I have an EEI one
You
that'll
might.
redirect to Odyssey?
I can't imagine Jones at EEI hasn't already been taken, so you're probably
Email me.
SOL.
Email me. We'll make some bets. A good listener, Fred out there, big Patriots fan. We've made some bets before.
Yep,
He
good.
knows I'm good for paying him off.
All right.
And I'm definitely good to come
Why, you've
calling
lost
if I
a
win.
bunch?
No, if I win my bets, I'm definitely good to come calling.
All right.
So yeah, email me. We'll put down a wager on that. I guess it won't come true for 2 more years. We got to wait it out to a pizza party for 2 more years.
That's a long play.
The reason we're referencing it though is again Jonathan Jones, not the Patriots corner.
No.
The CBS reporter. Bill Belichick hasn't signed his contract at North Carolina.
It's bizarre. Is he not read the whole thing? I mean, some of these contracts are long.
No, I'm telling you, it's sad. He hasn't signed it, not because they're like ironing out details. He hasn't signed it because he hopes the NFL comes calling because he doesn't want to be there. He never wanted to go there in the first place.
How does that
He
info
just
get
stamped
out?
his feet and went down to UNC.
Is North Carolina like, what the hell?
Yes, probably.
They gotta be like, dude, get this out here.
UNC confirmed. That's what Jonathan Jones said in his report. UNC confirmed that he hasn't signed his deal. That's
Remember,
crazy.
And Lombardi got all pissy when they were like, you haven't really hired anybody down there yet. He's like, we're taking our time. Like, leave us alone. It's like, well, are you putting together a staff or not? He's
Right.
like, well, Bill's waiting to make sure that all the jobs are closed in the NFL.
And then again, notice 2 days later, after Lombardi said, no, we're taking our time, they did hire a couple of people.
They actually did.
After Florio called them out. Some special teams guy and an O-line coach, I think.
Great.
Guys I was unfamiliar with.
Excellent. They're gonna be a monster next
So
year.
what do you think of that? It's again, to me, it's pretty simple. Just look at Bill's buyout. Look at how he hasn't signed his contract. He desperately wants to ditch UNC. He never wanted to be there in the first place.
Yes.
Despite saying, I didn't come here to leave, he would leave in a heartbeat. He left the Jets, different circumstances, but he'd do it in a heartbeat. The problem is they don't want him.
I would love to be a part of that whole conversation where they agree to terms, they talk about who they're bringing in, they do all this other stuff, and then they're
just
like,
sign it, Bill.
They're like, here we go, Bill. We printed it out. Very excited. Here, take this Carolina blue pen. Just put your name right here. He's like, how about this? How about we circle back after the Super Bowl? I was like, what? That's 2 months from now, Bill. He's like, I know.
Yeah!
But you never know what's going to happen. I just, would really feel better about starting at that. They're like, are you recruiting or not?
I got to go recruit.
So
no,
he
maybe that's
signed
his
that
excuse.
kid from-
I'm out recruiting 3 stars.
Yeah, right. Following him on Twitter.
I don't have time to sign my contract because I'm out recruiting so hard.
So next question for the kids that are transferring to North Carolina. Bill, are you going to be here? Bill, if you signed I'll sign my letter of intent to transfer if you sign your contract with North Carolina. Bizarre.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours kind of thing. Contracts.
Contract-wise.
Yeah.
Contract-wise.
Contractually is what we're talking
That's
about.
right.